Today I'm going to turn this piece of 625 Inconel into this part right here using the machine behind me, the YCM C10. So let's get started. All right, so for our first operation, we're going to just deck 50 thou off the top of this part with our Dodeca face mill. So first of all, we have a facing operation and we're using our 2-inch Dodeca face mill. Now, normally when I'm doing a facing operation at the very beginning, I choose a spiral toolpath. But in this case, I decided to just go one direction in straight lines. And the reason that I decided to do this is because if the inserts start to wear during processing this part, I can stop, flip the inserts, and then let it continue cutting. Whereas if I was doing a spiral, the tool is going to be constantly engaged, so I'm not going to have the same opportunities to stop and change my inserts. All right, next we came in with our 5/16 Ken drill, and we're only 5 times diameter, so there was no need to spot drill the holes. We just went straight through and got the holes done. Now when we come in to finish the outside shape of the part, once again we're using our Harvey 4, and if you take a look at the tool path itself, you can see that my lead-in is very gradual. We're not taking a big 90-degree angle into our part because we want to make sure that we don't have any machining line right there where the tool path intersects itself. Now the outside profile of our part is critical because if it's oversized, it's not going to fit into our second op fixture. So we need to make sure that this outside profile is perfectly to size. Now something else to take into account when you're cutting a lot of Inconel parts is Inconel isn't cheap. So you're going to want to make sure that you empty out your chip hoppers and make sure that you start with an empty drum or an empty hopper. That way you guys can save the Inconel chips for recycling because that pays for a lot of pizza parties. Right now we're roughing the outside of the part, and next up we're going to finish the outside profile. And the outside profile is very important for us to control because I made this second op fixture that the outside profile of the part is going to fit inside of. So I've written a separate program that only contains the finishing of the outside profile with cutter comp. That way, if when I put this fixture on the part before taking it out of the chuck and it doesn't fit, I can just rerun that one tool path. Now for our next operation, we're going to be using a 1-inch go-tip drill from Kennametal, and we're going to punch a hole right through the middle of our part. Now something that we have to be aware of is that our jaws are very close together at this point, so we have to know that that tool is not going to hit our jaws underneath the part when it breaks through. The reason that the through hole is important is because I want to be able to drop my end mill into that hole to mill out the remainder of the ID of the part. And also for the second operation, I'm going to use that through hole to probe my part for my work offset location. Got our through coolant pushing our chips out of the hole. Now something you guys may not know is recently at Boombastic 2025, I ran about 5 of these parts with the same insert and never had to replace it the whole show. Pretty impressive for Inconel. All right, after we drill our through hole, I come back in with the Harvey 4 and rough the remainder of the ID of the part. Once again, I only have to go about 1/8 of an inch deep, but I chose to go about 1 inch deep just to use more of the flute and remove more of that material during the first operation. All right, so we got our whole outside machine and then we got our ID machine now. Now the reason I switched tools to do this groove in the top of the part is because the Harvey 1 TE end mill is the tool that you want to use for ramping and any kind of full slotting applications. In case you were wondering, yes, we do sell these machines. If you're interested in the Beast YCM C10 or any other machine tools we sell, head over to our website or email keith@titansofcnc.com. Now, for roughing this floor feature here inside this groove, tool selection was very important. Although the Harvey 4 can do some ramping, that's not its core strength, whereas the Harvey 1 TE is really good at ramping applications. So we went with the Harvey 1 TE. Now the Harvey 1 TE is capable of a 45-degree ramp angle, and you may have seen that in some of our previous videos in steel. But in a material like Inconel, you're not going to want to do that. The tool's not going to survive. So we went in at a helical depth of 50 thousandths, which at this diameter is about a 3-degree ramp angle. So a funny story for you about Inconel. I was programming a part for a company, and it was for the largest rocket ever built in a joint NASA-Boeing venture. And there were 2 types of material on the print. It could either be copper nickel or Monel. The owner of the company told me that the part that I was programming was going to be the copper nickel part, which is a lot softer and easier to machine. So I programmed the part remotely and sent the programs into the guy who was going to be running the parts. And about 2 days later, he called me and said that he had broken about 30 different tools on this job. And I told him, well, that shouldn't be because I programmed all the feeds and speeds in there just the way that it needed to be run. Well, come to find out that all of the blanks that they shipped us were Monel and not copper nickel. So, if you ever start running tools on a job and you break more than one end mill, stop. Something is not right. Our next step is very simple. We add the chamfers for our holes and deburr all of the finished surfaces that we have so far. All right, so now we're using our 3/8 dual lock chamfer mill. And this tool is really important for our process because, first of all, we have to break the outside profile of our part's edge for it to fit into our second op fixture properly. The other thing is we're going to be coming in with a thread mill next to thread those holes, and we have to have a chamfer on our threads. And this is another one of those tools that I've been running through over 5 parts all through Boombastic, and I haven't changed the insert yet. Sweet. Oh, by the way, have you guys checked out our new app, MFG Connect? It's a super cool place for the manufacturing community. You can have an online portfolio, you can find employees, vendors, customers, and like everything else we do, it's completely free, so see you guys there. All right, so for the final operation of this part, the only thing left to do is thread our holes. And like I told you while we were machining the part, I'm using a tool that has 3 teeth, but I programmed it as if it was a single tooth tool. And the reason that I did this is because I want to take the least number of passes possible, but still achieve good threads on my part. Now this is another part where I broke out this particular tool path by itself in a separate program. So if we need to rerun the threads, we can easily. We're running at about 150 surface foot, and we're running at 2 inches a minute. So it's not the fastest process in the world, but I'm taking 2 roughing passes, a finish pass, and a spring pass. All right, so now our first operation is done. We're gonna check our threads and we're gonna make sure that our second op fixture fits our part. All right, so we got our plug gauge here. This is the last hole that we machined. Oh yes, beautiful. So our go side went, and now our no-go side. That's it. Beautiful. All right, so our threads are good. Now let's check our fixture. Beautiful. All right, so we're ready to pop our bolts in and take our part over from the chuck into our vise over here and start our second operation. All right, now before I put my fixture in my vise, I want to put my parallels in. Now these parallels are from Shunk. They're super cool. They got a little neodymium magnet in the back of each one, so they stick to the vise and don't move around. All right, now we're ready to probe our part and get started on our second operation. All right, so if you take a look at our stock on our second op fixture, you can see that we have this nice 1-inch diameter hole that we're able to probe for our X and Y0 locations. And for our Z0, we use the bottom of our part. That way we can easily control the overall height of the part. Our first operation, we're coming in with the Harvey 4 end mill again, and we're just roughing all the remaining stock. If we come in and look at the tool path on our technology tab, you can see that I'm sticking with that 28-degree cutting angle, and this time we're leaving 15 thou on all surfaces. Now since we're running such a low surface footage and we got a lot of roughing and a lot of surfacing to do, this tool is going to see some time in cut. Now this part may look pretty simple, and really it is, geometrically speaking. Some of the challenges we're going to see though is that this particular end mill is going to have to be in cut for over 8 hours, and it's going to have to survive the whole time in Inconel. If it does, that's going to be pretty impressive, so let's see what happens. Now we get to watch this tool go around and around and around the part all day. You spin me right round, baby, right round. All right, so we just finished roughing off the majority of our stock with our 3/4 end mill. All right, so now we can see what's going to happen next. Our face mill is going to come in and just face off the top of the part to finish size. Then we're going to come back in and finish all of our inside diameters. So let's make some more chips. For our facing operation, we're just using our same 2-inch dodeca face mill and taking a single pass across the top of our part. Next up, we have to add our undercut using our PH horn slot mill. With that tool, if we take a look at our parameters, I'm taking 2 finish passes, and my maximum step over is going to be 175 thousandths. All right, so the tool we're using right now is a slot mill from PH Horn. It's a solid carbide tool, so it's not just carbide tipped, and I think it's a really, really nice tool. You can see they ground a relief on every single one of the teeth. And even the shank is carbide. So this tool, we're running at 200 surface feet and about 1 thou per tooth. And this same tool has done about 6 parts already, so not too shabby. All right, now Now that our undercut's put in with our slot mill, we're gonna come in and drill the 4 holes in the top of our part. Then we're gonna deburr and chamfer everything. Now it's time to start roughing and finishing our outside profile. And last but not least, we're gonna bring our thread mill in and put the threads in our last 4 holes, and this part is complete. All right, so take a look at our finished part. We got good surface finishes, our threads are good, all of our bores are on size. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. You know, machining Inconel is not that big of a deal so long as you follow the recipe and use the right tooling and right tool paths. A lot of working with super alloys is technique. So today's video hopefully helps you in your future machining things just like 625 Inconel. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon.